Here last year as well, and being more wise than last year, I was wondering that we could do this the way that we leave some space for the audience to ask questions, especially as they didn't have that much time during the keynotes. So I would say around 30-35 minutes for us, and then rest for the audience to ask questions. So if you have anything in your mind, just write it down or keep it in your mind, or whatever mechanism you want to use, and then afterwards you can ask it. And we only have this one microphone, so you have to be democratic to each other and just pass it to whoever might need it. Yes. You're the first one, okay. I'm going to be dictator if it goes too bad. So, if I introduce you shortly in the beginning, and then you can go more deeply in what you do really, and so I don't make too many mistakes. If I start from Josephine Roth, because I have this order here, you're sitting in the middle, and you're a brand manager of Lift Nordic. Lift Nordic, is that correct?
Lift Nordic, yes, hotels and spas.
Yes, hotels and spas. So you're consulting luxury cruises and so on, so you can tell a little bit more about that. You have to push it. Yeah.
That's better?
No, it's not better.
Hello?
Now it works.
There we
Great.
go. Okay, so yes, so Live Nordic Hotels and Wellbeing is the name of our own hotel and spa brand, which is something that we run on cruise ships, yes. We also do, as I talked about previously, consulting projects within wellness and spas. So that has nothing to do actually with Live Nordic. So that's the part of Raison d'Être, which is the company that basically created Live Nordic. So we both work with our fixed brands and products. One is Live Nordic, another is Six Senses. But we also have a lot of clients, especially in the 5-star hotel market, that wants to open a spa. And then they come to us and say, we know that we need a spa, we don't really know what it is, but we want you to just fix it for us, basically.
Okay, good. Then I'm going, it's going to be wrong, order there, but it's the right order here for me. So Eero Kilpi, president of North American Sauna Society. Yeah.
Yes, so is it working now?
It's working, yeah.
Okay,
You just
good.
keep it very close to you
Okay.
also.
Yeah, so again, my name is Eero Kilpi. I'm a Finnish person, and I've been living in New York for the past 21 years. And I was involved, was one of the founders of the North American Sauna Society. And Tula Hello has been our supporter from day one for the past 15 years. And the reason first why we started the organization was because of the influx of the Chinese infrared rooms back in the day, and we thought that the traditional sauna would have problems in that market area, and I think we're probably going to talk more about that in the future. But there's like, particularly the North American market, which I represent, it's kind of a blur, and there's some misunderstandings what a sauna actually is.
Okay, thank you. Then there is Kim, is it Tem or Temi? Temi, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I run, it's a family business, Nordic Sauna in California, and my dad started in 1963. And we dabbled a little bit in infrared, and then we decided against that. And I actually brought on someone who worked 20 years in that business, because he's the one that sold me on infrared. So I thought, if he could sell me on that, he'd probably be a really good salesperson to sell people on real sauna.
Amen.
Okay. Then we skip here, Jake Newport.
Hi guys, yeah, so great to see so many familiar faces. My name's Jake Newport from Finnmark Sauna. We're a UK sauna company specializing in the authentic Finnish sauna experience. We have been operating now for about just over 5 years, and the growth has been exponential. The demand for the authentic experience outside of Finland is palpable. There's a lot of people really interested in it. So we've been growing off the back of that, and this time last year, I was here giving a talk, and I had a dream about how Finnish sauna would be received across the world and throughout Europe, and how we could help encourage people better understand the authentic Finnish sauna experience and the joy that can bring to so many people. We've had already so many good speakers on that topic. And I think my dream is slowly coming true. The audience last year probably had half what is here today. So it's really good to see things moving in the right direction. But I think with your support, we can educate people more about what makes that great.
Okay, thank you, Jake. And then Tapio Pajuharju.
So first of all, happy to be here. My name is Tapio Pajuharju. I'm running the Harvia Sauna Company and been on board of the company for 3 years. And I think this is third time on the seminar as well. And I think this seminar has taken good steps forward. And Harvia has been known for the heaters since 1950, but I think today we'll be learning that it's not only about the heaters. It's about the experience, and it's a holistic experience. And I think at the end of the day, it's the experience we are selling and marketing, and we should be known for. And the Harvia tagline is relaxing moments and natural well-being that fits quite well into the sauna world. And I think today we've been hearing excellent presentations which are bang on our tagline, so very happy to be here.
Thank you. And then Pekka Lettiev, just keep it quite close to your...
Take it closer, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Pekka Lettiev. I have been roughly 10 months as a group CEO of Tylo Hello. And fighting against Tapsa every day. And I think
that's why we have her in the middle.
Yeah, we know, and I'm lucky that I got the microphone from him as well, because now I'm going to keep it the rest of the evening. But we are really, Tylo Hello is undergoing a quite large restructuring, and we have set a new, true different type of strategy for us in the future, because we are on the mission of making people live better. So we are really looking at sauna as a solutions to live better, and I think we, not only we, but our dear competitors, all other stakeholders, including yourself, we have really big issue which we have been discussing today, is that how could we make people to walk into a sauna? Because there are so many people today, they think it's ugly, they think it's a dark room, it's really hot and steamy and whatever, but I think that we have a big role there, and that is something that I look forward to discuss with you, not only now in the panel debate, but also during the evening. So mission is make people live better.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm gonna pose a question specifically to someone, but I encourage you, whenever you have something in your mind, just say, don't ask for the questions, because there is no guarantee that I would ask the right question, of course. So Josephine, you are kind of consulting sauna experience to very high class customer, if I understood correctly.
Yes.
So what are the demands that they have, like on top of an average customer?
So, of course there are different points too. I would say in one way, when it comes to the sauna experience, it might not always have to be so different. So when you look upon a sauna experience, or sauna itself is almost always present in a spa, like almost wherever you are in the world. How it's used, though, varies a lot. So for us, it also is a big difference on our own Live Nordic spas, because there we promote the sauna as a part of our Nordic bathing ritual, is actually what we call it. And something interesting as well, which might tap into a little bit of what you said too, is that we talk about the sauna a lot. We do a lot of the storytelling, which people love. We also emphasize a lot of the cold elements. So we have cold plunges on the cruise ships. We have a snow grotto. We also have the cold bucket showers. So it's all about the whole ritual. And here we talk a lot about before and after the sauna, but often for us it's more steps. So the sauna is the core, the heart of the experience, but it's one part of a spa experience in one way. So I would say like a luxury market demand today is definitely, as we talked about today, it's about experience. It's also about authenticity and meaningful experiences. People want to hear the story, they want to feel the sense, awaken the senses. They even want something to, you know, try, like to eat, taste, especially when we market our Nordic experiences. That's very appreciated. And overall, I would like to say I was overwhelmed when we started the Live Nordic hospitality brand, how trendy Nordic is everywhere in the world, and obviously the Finnish sauna is a big part of that. It's so exotic, as we've heard today, from many different cultures as well. But I think that what everyone wants to have is an authentic experience.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a lot of development when it comes to innovative design, obviously, which is almost very welcome in the world I work in. New things that comes, new trends is very important, but I think that the way you use a sauna is still quite traditional, which I think is a good thing. But we also face the fact that many people don't use it.
That
because
way.
they don't know how to use it.
What about in the United States? What are the demands from the customers? What do they want?
As I mentioned when I first spoke, the thing is that the understanding of what a sauna experience consists of is not very well known. There are some people among us who understand it now, and there's always been a lot of people, like in Midwest, who understood it because of their grandparents or whoever came into the country and did what they always did, built the sauna first. But again, coming back why we established ourselves 2004, we feel that I agree totally with what you just said, that you have to have a foundation somewhere. And I dearly love all the innovation that's going through in the sauna world, but particularly in the United States, we want to go back to basics, so to speak. We want to build the foundation on the traditional sauna bathing experience and go from there. And my dream would be, I'm saying it out loud right now, if I don't get a chance to speak about this later, I would love to see these two gentlemen here and me by the same table and talk about the fact, because if I had these gentlemen on the same boat with me, I could go to the Finnish government and say that we need some resources, because I feel that the sauna industry can't tap on the huge potential that we have in the United States alone.
And Sauli Niinistö didn't brought it up when he was just there.
My man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what about, is there any differences between, you're from New York, you're from Los Angeles?
Yeah, I mean, some people think, because California is hot, that you wouldn't need a sauna. I was even asked here by some Finnish people, wow, you sell saunas in California, it's, hot. So, there's still that perception of what a sauna really is, and, what do you use it for? So, I mean, we need to educate upon that. And there is a lot of confusion. There's confusion with infrared sauna and traditional sauna. In the past, people have sold sauna belts, sauna suits, sauna shorts.
What is sauna belt?
It's just a belt buckle, and it's supposed to have the same benefits as
Really?
a sauna.
Oh, it's sitting, in a living room or somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can buy one on Amazon.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, so we need to educate what all those benefits are, and what the true sauna is.
Mm-hmm. So Jake, if we skip to you, I know that you've been trying to create this authentic experience in Great Britain, and I remember you talking about last year about this thing, and now it's been a year from that. So how has it been going there?
It's good, yeah. So Kim touched on something there. There's, as an industry, there's a lot of misinformation, and Finns generally have a reputation for being quiet and humble people that potentially are not going to shout about how good an experience is. And certainly there's a joke that the Finns began exporting sauna to the UK in the 70s, and they still haven't sent the instruction manual. because of that sad fact, the experience has in some ways been hijacked by what we in the UK might call snake oil salesmen. And that is somebody who yesterday sold you a hair growth cream for anti-baldness and today is nowhere to be seen. And we've seen that with certain fads in the industry. Last year I talked very dismissively about the infrared industry, and I know Kim also has thoughts on this. We've discussed briefly at the Tulo factory that actually Finnish sauna has more of the beneficial infrared radiation than almost all of the infrared saunas on the market. Yes. And this is a little known fact. So I had somebody not long ago call me up, a client in London, who said, I said, look, we specialize in authentic Finnish sauna, this is why it's better. And they replied, why would I want to sell a Finnish sauna when there's so much better research about the health benefits of infrared, right? And I tried to stop him and say, if you measure the infrared in a traditional Finnish sauna, you will find that there's potentially 3 times more of exactly what you're looking for. And you get a wealth of other health benefits that, although sadly he's not here, Jari Laukkanen would stand here and testify loudly about. So I think more shouting needs to be done by humble Finnish voices about the health benefits, about the quality and enjoyability of the experience, which we're starting to get. And we need to abandon snake oil sales tactics, which only result in people losing trust in the authentic experience.
Even I didn't know this, and I'm Finnish. So we go there, and then Tapio.
Yeah, I need to comment what you said here, because sometimes I learned a new expression during 1 year ago. It was alternative facts.
Fake news.
Yeah.
No, but I think that I fully agree with you. One thing we need to do in the industry is to work on education. Because I think that if I take our own company itself, one of the big challenges we have is to re-educate our salespeople, because they are very, very much engineers, and they love to talk about technical characteristics of the heater and talk day and night about that one, but that is not what is kicking off people. We really need to do some more value-based training through the organization together with our dealers, and really bring forward what are the real benefits of having a sauna. And as one concrete example, what we are taking now is that as we are speaking, we are building the first official sauna lab in the world, together with a medical professor and his network. And that is going to be built up in Luleå in Sweden, and they are in fact going to in scientific studies, medical scientific studies, confirm what is happening inside a human body when you're having a sauna. And the interesting thing will be that there will be one traditional room and one IR room. And then we will see the facts.
How many stones will be in the traditional heater?
It will be exactly according to the specification to our Tylo heater.
So the question is how many stones there will be in the...
I don't know, honestly speaking. There will be quite many.
Good.
Yeah. No, but so we are going to test that one, and for us it's not an issue for Tylo Hello to do this, because I think that this is for the sauna community worldwide. We have no problem, and we have also agreed that with the universities that this will be public information spread to the whole sauna community in the world, because this is also one way for us to educate ourselves, but also for the big audience.
Mm-hmm.
There
okay.
we go.
Tapio, yeah.
Yeah, maybe just building on the comments from Kim, Esko, and Jake. And I think we are all in front of a big opportunity. And I think today, when you go around the world and you ask, how does a good sauna look?
Can you put it closer? Yeah, yeah.
We are in front of a major opportunity. And I think when we go around the world and ask people, how does a good sauna look like? People don't know. And it's up to us, in a way, to do the benchmark and show off what can be done. And it's not only the engineering on the heater, how many kilowatts and how many cubic meters you have in the sauna. It's a multisensorial experience. And I think it's also all the related items, not only what is in the sauna, it's also before and after the sauna. And it's part of our everyday life. And I think we'll once again beef up what Pekka said, not only make people live better, but also make them live longer. And I think that's part of Mr. Laukkanen's statement. And I think 3 times a week, minimum 15 minutes ago, sauna bathing, you will experience 3 to 7 years more of this life. And we all truly enjoy the life. So that's why we are doing it. But I think it's our job not to accept that these sauna belts and some of the other things are on the market. They should not be called saunas. And then I think today we heard an excellent presentation from the hotel industry, and I'm very happy to hear that from a Finnish speaker. When you travel around the world, you can go to a 5-star hotel in Singapore, even in Taiwan sometimes, and they claim it's a 5-star hotel. Yeah, you see that on the reception. Breakfast works perfectly, room service is immaculate. But when you go to the sauna, it's 1 star or 1 minus on the sauna. So people don't know how does a good sauna look like, what are the characteristics and what are the features of the sauna. And it's our job to educate the world on this one. And then continuing on the excellent presentation from this hotel, it's not only to sell the heater or sell the sauna, it's also the life cycle and the sustainability of the experience. And that's our job to make it work.
I'm not sure if you, Jake, already commented on this. I think I heard it that someone asked you whether Brexit has had any impact on your business, and did you say no? Or
so we're fully booked with installation work until about May next year, and the biggest problem for us is we can't keep up with the demand for our service. So I think. Generally speaking, although I don't necessarily agree that it should be an exclusive experience, that the market outside of Finland for sauna is at a very high-end experience, and people at that kind of level of international wealth are certainly less affected by that. But I don't know. Ask me again next year, and I think we'll see. But
are you worried about the hard Brexit if it really happens?
I mean, I would say that it's probably quite likely that Brexit is going to happen now. The analogy that people use is like it's impossible to go back into the family home once the divorce proceedings have already begun, and I think that's a shame. You know, my partner is German. My business imports everything from Finland, and for half of our country it has been the same kind of tragedy as losing a family member at the point that we learned about Brexit, and that has been very painful for a lot of us, and it has very much divided our nation. However, we now are in this situation, and if there's one thing that British people are good at, it's that we can innovate, we can face adversity, and we can certainly make the best of a bad situation. And that's exactly what we will do. But what I will also say is, you know, the UK is in itself its own country. We have here guys from the US that successfully import equipment from Europe without issue. We have companies that produce and import materials from China or throughout the world without any issue at all. So I would say in the short term it's going to be a little bit of difficulty, but we have a very large warehouse that is very well stocked with timber, with heaters, with equipment, and you know, we've made plans now. This is a 3-year-old problem. It continues to be on the 24-hour news cycle, and I think everybody now is tired of this and kind of wants it all just to be over. So yeah, I think we will be fine. We will innovate and succeed, but I think for a lot of people that were misinformed about a debate, they've been misled. There has been many alternative facts shared, and much like perhaps the infrared debate, you know, they've been missold on something, and now they have to sit in a lukewarm room and pretend they're enjoying this expensive experience when they should have got a Finnish sauna and gone down the traditional route.
Right. You can always go that is Brexit stressful to you? Come to sauna to relax. So, does anyone have any comment on this, on Brexit?
I have a question about the research facility, because I'm very much, I think research into sauna and health and well-being is really important. I think that's great. However,
the first thing that warning flag that I see is that if you're sponsoring this research, is it not like a tobacco company sponsoring lung cancer research?
Absolutely not. No, but we do it purely for goodwill. And when I met Hans Hägglund, who is the professor originally from Uppsala University, because he contacted me, and I said that what I absolutely want to see here is that we are getting any kind of company favor from it. Because I said we are on a mission to help people live better, and that's why I said that our investment is to provide them the standard equipment so they can do the measurements and in fact actually how they will start to do the studies is that it will be a group of real patients with heart problems, and we said that we have no exclusive right for that information at all. That will be passed worldwide through that medical network, and we are just a contributor as a good citizen. So we are not promoting any smoking or karo beer drinking.
Okay.
How are you designing these saunas as well? Because we had an amazing talk from Dr. Likkonen, where are you? Here, who dedicates his time to the optimum layout of sauna construction. And as somebody commented earlier, there is 5.5 million specialists and consultants on sauna here in Finland, and everybody's idea of the perfect sauna is like my grandfather's sauna, in the same way that the best cake I ever tasted was my grandmother's, you know. So in terms of the engineering of the sauna, and this is an important thing, you know, who's going to be advising on the ventilation, who's going to be advising on the setup, the layout, how much lolu is used. Because I think there's a problem in the UK at the moment where people administer sauna like medicine. They go, I know this is good for me, so I'm just gonna feel the burn, and they're like badly ventilated. They feel nauseous, but they're told it's good for them, and they don't know anything to compare it. But when we try proper sauna, like if we go to Kuma this evening and we are relaxing on the lounger after going in the cold plunge and the steam, you can feel the benefit. You feel amazing. You have that euphoria. And that's not something that the sauna users of most health clubs in the UK have, not something they know about. And if we are researching the health benefits, my body is telling me that experience in Kuma is good for me, and the experience that most people have in those very poor appropriations of sauna in the UK, that is not good for anybody. So how are we going to make sure that they're properly engineered and that they function like a proper sauna?
If the results are wrong, then you can always rely on these arguments. Yeah.
Somebody did a wrong design.
Yeah.
I think that Hans Hägglund, who is the promoter for this one, really, he's talking with Jari Laukkanen and all the sauna professors around the world. And we have given them a lot of freedom because we provide them basically a standard sauna. And to be able to make really the real medical research is that they are going to move around the patients in the sauna in different level, different distance from the heater, high up from the floor, how close to the floor they are, and make comparable studies. So it will not be depending on our equipment. It's basically a standard sauna they're getting. If I don't totally remember correctly, that I believe that we will have one more extra layer on the benches as well to be able to measure the height differences inside the sauna where the patient is located and to the distance of the heaters, etc. So there will be a lot of flexibility in it, and we don't want to lock them in because of being a good citizen. That's the only way to do it. And I think that another remark to make to your good comment is that this is now medical research. And what we talk about ourselves in this room, it's our personal perception, what we think is comfortable or not, and that's maybe a totally different issue.
Okay, so freedom of science is very important. Yeah, we go there. Yeah.
So I just wanna support what Jake said here before. The same thing is in the U.S., and I hope that you guys from the U.S. agree with me on this. But the entry level to sauna in the United States is your gym. And And whether the sauna in itself, whatever I call them infrared rooms or whatever, it's a traditional sauna, most likely it's being used wrong, and most likely it's in the wrong place. So it's a bad sauna experience which sets the standard for the whole thing. So wherever we're going, again, education.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's bring up another topic in terms of commercial and making money. What do you see the forthcoming trends in the whole business? I mean, the big trends like health and saving the planet, as he said before, and so on. Are there any of those?
I think Kim might be able to give us some more comments on this one, particularly Dr. Rhonda Patrick said something about
taking the wind out of my sails.
Yeah, I don't. You'll have to give me the correct quote here, but something about treatment of the standard of care.
Yeah, she just had a talk at the cardiacs convention for doctors, and she got up and she said that in the next 10 years it's going to be, part of standard care is using the sauna because of the benefits that you get from that.
You mean cardiovascular disease or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So meaning that health is the big trend that is coming, or?
Well, it is, and also that sauna is going to be part of that because there's so many benefits from that, and that's one thing that we direct a lot of people to is to her website, which is foundmyfitness.com, and it's all unbiased research. So she's collected a lot of information and put it there. But it's true, like Yarrow was saying, that most people in the U.S., their first place is like at a fitness club, and that's why a lot of people are really turned off by sauna, because they're like, it's too hot, and a lot of places it says do not pour water on the heater, you can get electrocuted. So it's a complete, they just don't have a good experience there. So most of our customers come from people that it's either, they grew up with sauna, or they traveled to Europe and experienced it properly, or have gone to a high-end resort where it's also incorporated properly as sauna.
Yeah, now if we go Finland and ask people here on the streets, probably anyone can say that sauna has some health benefits, or at least they think so, and they know that it's good for your health. At least it's not bad for your health. So Josephine, when you have customers who do the luxury cruise, what are the reasons they go to sauna? Do they know is there a health benefit reason, for example, when they go?
Sometimes we actually do have majority of American guests on board our cruise ships, in particular. The average age is plus 55, with most of them being plus 65. I would say that there is a big interest. There is maybe not so much knowledge about the health benefits, but there is a big interest in the Nordic lifestyle and Nordic well-being overall, and that's the reason why they come to us. So a big part for us is to educate on that, and many are surprised, and many come back every day to do the hot and cold because they realize how good it is. But reverting back to what you said before, like we all know this, but the wellness industry is booming. It's not looking to stop at all. It's growing every year. So in our perspective, sauna is definitely health and wellness. It's part of a lifestyle more than a nice luxury amenity in a bathroom. So it's really a way of life, and people, I think people are definitely seeking wellness experiences in all fields. So we see it in food and beverage, we see it in luxury, we see it in hotels, but we also see it in architecture. We're now choosing what fabrics to use, how we build our buildings, how we design our workplaces. Everything is in one way or the other related to wellness and sustainability. So I think that the future in that way is looking really, really bright, and I think that the sauna market is a big part of that. But the perception of
wellness, and maybe I'm not saying it definitely fits the luxury market, and as you say, maybe some of the better saunas are found in hotels or resorts in the US, for instance, rather than in the fitness clubs, where they actually also belong, I believe, but it depends on, like, that would be very different here in the Nordic region, even in Sweden. The usage of a sauna in a gym would be done quite properly, and it's a very important part for many people when they exercise. So, yeah.
Yeah, so health and sustainability, yeah?
No, I fully subscribe with what Josephine says, really. That is what we have set as a main part of our strategy for the future as well, is that knowing what we know, all of us knows about sauna, is that it has a huge impact on well-being and health. And that is what we are driving for. But I think also we as ambassadors for sauna need to think about who is our end customer and what are their expectations. And that's why I'm saying also that we need to listen to the audience, we need to listen to the different cultures. How could we in the sauna industry improve the well-being and health, instead of maybe only selling one version? Because I think that sauna can be done in many different ways. And that is something that we need to consider as well when we are trying to educate the audience, because it's not only one street. I think that there are a couple of streets that how we can address the sauna and well-being with our end consumers that have not been in the sauna yet today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tapio.
I think still more on the economical aspect, and starting from the small picture, I think the sauna heater and component market is about 400 million altogether on the global frame. Sauna and spa industry is slightly shy of 3 billion. Then you think about the well-being industry and you multiply that with 1,000. So I think we tend to be too close to the sauna issue. We need to think about the big picture, what is actually the end result, what we are doing about. All the players in the sauna spa industry are multi-local, small companies, and I think we in a way lacking a common voice on the market, and we need to do common marketing on the health and well-being aspect, and then I think we'll all have a good goal going forward in that respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now it's 4:30. I was wondering that we can give some space for you guys to ask questions if you have anything in your mind. Just okay, we have hands, so let's go. Just ask a question, and we have to repeat it because of the
Okay.
filming. Yeah.
Or I could talk loud. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
So my question, I guess, is for you two gentlemen that manufacture the sauna heaters. My husband and I are actually taking our business model as an infrared sauna sweat boutique, and we are franchising in November. But since we have been able to experience the real Finnish experience, we are changing our business model, and we're the trendsetters out in LA, to provide our guests, we see 50 to 60 guests in each location each day, with a natural approach to the infrared heat. So what my question is, because I'm a little confused coming out of the infrared industry and more into a traditional approach, is there more infrared found in a ceramic or carbon heater versus going through the rock and the natural elements? Because our guests are going to be super confused if the manufacturers of the heaters that have been standing in a Finnish traditional sauna are now switching the narrative to a infrared. And I know there's a lot of money to be made in it because I sell infrared saunas. So I see the positive from that, but is the infrared stronger in the carbon and electric heaters versus going through the rock and natural elements?
Maybe if I will entertain first, I'm by no means expert on the infrared, but I think what I've learned on the infrared, and it's not yes or no, I think it's yes and more of this. And if you are a sportsman, you want to in a way re-energize and relax your muscles, both are working, but when you need to go deep on the tissue, almost to the bone, then the infrared does the job. And I think combining some of the benefits is maybe also worth thinking, and I think there are some solutions of doing both, and I think then you get the full treatment when you do both. But I think, as said over here, our experience both on the physical health and on the mental health is based on the traditional Finnish or Scandinavian sauna, where you have the traditional heater and the benches, and where you stay a bit more than 15 minutes. So hence my knowledge is limited to this. Pekka is maybe the expert, so let's get the big
The right answer.
No, I fully agree with Tapsa. Normally I don't agree at all. But I think I think it's not a black or white thing. It's not a one-way street, because it depends on what you want, what you expect, and I think that because we will going to pursue with both alternatives or in combination, because it depends on what you need and what you expect out from it. So and I'm also confessing in that way, saying that we don't know exactly yet today. I hope that the sauna lab will give us a lot of information, the whole industry, that we really understand what is happening in a different way, traditional sauna versus IR. But we are listening to both channels, and we are trying to address the both channels today. And we see now, especially from sports people on elite level, they really just want to go with IR for specific purposes. But at the same time, it can be a pleasure thing to have a traditional sauna. So maybe you should sell combi saunas.
We don't want to be lukewarm on that, though. We want to stay. I don't know. You guys are Finnish. Most of you here.
Are you Finnish?
Okay. Are you
saying?
But are you saying that? Because we're brand new. My husband and I just started using these traditional saunas. So are you saying that for you that have been doing the traditional way for a lot of time, you're not getting the sports recovery, or you're not feeling your muscles recover as fast, or injury?
I'm not a physicist here, and I would like, if somebody is a physicist, to put up your hand, or at least any physics university degrees. Do we have anybody like this? Because I ask because in schools in the UK they talk about radiation and energy, and we know that energy cannot be created or destroyed. And we also know that when things, when energy decays, eventually it will go to heat radiation, and that often it forms. That radiation is often found as far infrared. If we look at the universe as a whole, everything kind of, all the noise, all the explosions, all the people talking, everything eventually decays down into heat, and then one day there'll be the heat death of the universe. So when things get hot, they release infrared. And because energy can't be created or destroyed, so when we heat up a sauna heater, let's say we take a Harvia 9 kilowatt stone-filled heater, we are putting 9 kilowatts of energy into that sauna, right? So there's 9 kilowatts of energy which is heating up that space. And when we heat up that space, all of the cladding on the ceiling, all the benches, all the wall cladding, maybe if it's on for a while, the floor, the heater itself, those stones, they are all getting hot and they're re-radiating. And that energy is black body infrared radiation. And how much? 9 kilowatts of it, because we can't create more or less. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but most infrared panel heaters operate somewhere between 1 and 3 kilowatts, and they are re-radiating that to you. So, infrared, we know that infrared has health benefits. That's a given. There is health benefits to infrared. We know that traditional sauna has health benefits as well. But you're getting so much more of the infrared, the black body radiation, in a traditional sauna. So that there is going to be situations where you're going to have to go with infrared. That might be somewhere that doesn't have adequate power supply, can't be properly insulated or vapor sealed to protect the property. So let's say you rent your apartment and you can't build a proper sauna there. or in the event where the user is particularly sensitive to heat or humidity. So if it's going to be 80 degrees and 10% humidity, not everybody finds that comfortable, and I think that's where Tulohelo is coming from about, not everybody likes it in a particular way and what have you. But what I would say is we in the industry are battling against a side of the marketplace where they are saying infrared is a cure-all, it cures cancer, it will bring your dog back to life, it will make your hair grow again. And they're doing this just because, as you pointed out, you're in this industry, there's a lot of money to be made. And they're doing it as a cut-and-run job. And I think the thing that we're going to see in the next 10 years is people with money are not stupid. And anybody here who thinks that they make money by fooling rich people is the biggest fool of them all, right? The research will come out, and hopefully we will see over time that if we use traditional sauna, the health benefits are the health benefits of infrared, plus all these other health benefits, such as the reduction in dementia and Alzheimer's risk, cardiovascular health benefits, and the reduction in all-cause mortality, which is everything that kills people when they get old. And that is what this experience is. That's why that health, this is what you should be telling to the members at your club, that you're like, yeah, you can use infrared, that's fine if you don't like the Finnish sauna, but if you want that plus, if you want the upgraded version, you want to try traditional sauna.
I don't see any reason why you couldn't be a physicist. That was very, very credible to me.
The health is, of course, it's of utmost importance, and obviously the North American Sauna Society supports all aspects of the health being and feeling good. But there's a very strong social media now around traditional sauna in the United States as we speak, and there seems to be consensus on the fact that many people say that I would be doing sauna even though it would be a little bad for me because it feels so good. And the one thing that people have not mentioned, and I feel stupid saying this out loud, but it has to be me if it's going to be somebody, is that what about the high? What about the runner's high? Because this is what traditional Finnish sauna does for you. Way better than anything else.
I think what we in the industry, infrared, it has its place. We just don't want it to be called a sauna. It should just be an infrared cabin or an infrared therapy.
Right.
It's sort of like saying a bicycle and a car are the same. They're both transportation. They're going to get you there, but you can't call a bicycle an automobile. And that's what we want to have, that different, that different name, so that they're not riding the coattails of Finnish sauna.
Champagne and sparkling wine.
Exactly.
Yes,
Was it from you? Yeah,
Good memory.
stealing everything.
No, but I think what I would like to repeat really is that we might because we are traditional sauna people, most of us. But at the same time, what I'm always saying that we need to think about the personal preferences, the cultures. I don't know exactly, but my feeling I get in Finland is that younger generations, they don't go so any more often to the sauna because they don't, simply speaking, they don't like it. It's too hot. And they start to talk about IR. And we are maybe trying to defend our old way to do it instead of thinking the new way. How many in this audience knows about ski jumping? I think everybody almost. At least two. But ski jumping, very classical sport in Sweden, Finland, Germany, and Japan, etc. Everybody was jumping in the past in a classical way. And then suddenly a crazy Swedish guy popped up called Jan Boklöv, and he was jumping with a Wii style. And everybody said that he's nuts. Nowadays, everybody jumps like him.
Yeah. So, sir, sorry?
I just want to say as well, because I think it's interesting, and maybe there's a place for both, because you say, as in social media in the US, you see a lot of the Finnish sauna experience, which I think is great. And I don't think for the Nordic market we don't have to be worry that the traditional sauna is going to go anywhere. However, right now in Europe and in a lot of the trends we see, IR is very trendy.
That's fine. Just
Yeah.
call it IR.
Yeah,
Don't call
no.
it IR
I
sauna.
think that's a really important point. And then from a spa perspective, there is definitely room for both. And a lot of the time, we actually do both. So just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
You can still have bicycles. There's room for bicycles. It's not a problem.
So the thing I just want to add to that is you mentioned about young people not enjoying the experience. This exactly what I've been trying to say about the UK market. It is not an unusual thing for us to sell a sauna installation to the husband, and the wife tells us, I hate saunas, I've never enjoyed them, I'll never get in it, it's not for me, it's for him, I'll never use it. And when we properly ventilate it, we use a heater with a lot of stones, we teach them that it doesn't have to be 100 degrees, you can have it at 60 and use a lot of water, or you can have it at 80 and use a bit of water, that it's customizable and that it's got that fresh air, and you use a cold plunge afterwards and you relax. They're converts, and we see it time and time again. We get this, oh, I don't like that experience, I can't breathe in the sauna, it makes me feel sick. The answer to that is they've never tried a good one.
Yeah. So
Maybe just one thing, and I think young people over here, you need to take Pekka out in the evening and show him where the young people go. And they go to Kuma, they go to Allas, they go to Löyly. That's where they are. But they don't go to their apartment and bathe alone. They go with their friends, and afterwards they may drink a glass of water, or maybe even brave enough to have a beer.
Okay. So, okay, we have a question from there, sir. You've been waiting for this.
I'm glad to hear what Kim said about the distinction. The sauna name or word, it seems to have been appropriated, and we have a lot at stake when we build traditional saunas. We have brick and mortar facilities, and this internet invasion of a very easy to install plug in the wall has given people economic motivation to sell this product. And as I've heard many times, these folks oftentimes are just marketers. I feel like maybe some of the big boys have gotten into it due to profit loss and have been forced to do so. But for us to fight back and have traditional sauna be recognized as the true sauna, it's going to take the industry to do that. And we need to be able to specifically say about IR what it does and what it doesn't do, what's been promised and what's not true. And that's really all I have to say.
Yeah, okay. So there was a comment there. Did you have a hand up? Yeah?
My issue is now about the big market. I'm here all alone from Africa, representing the whole continent. And the issue is now, what I heard yesterday's evening, that growth production in Finland is about 1% or something like that.
Almost so high.
Yes, and in East Africa alone, it is about 6%. There are southern African countries where there is only about 10%, some of them. Unfortunately, we lost one good sauna promoter from Namibia recently. That was in March. That was the vice president of Namibia. And I have been representing Hello 10 years. After that, Savo about 3 years. Last 15 years with Harvia. None of you have ever stepped on our soil in East Africa or Southern Africa to come and visit us, at least, what we have been building. I really would like to this kind of conference.
That's an invitation, I think.
I would really like to invite. I would really like to invite you people to come there. I will show you around, but you come with your own cost.
Cancelled.
That's a deal.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Let's go there. I'm not sure if this is correct. Which one of you? Okay, let's go there from you, and then Sir with the hat.
So I think so much of the discussion this evening for me seems to be revolving around what is fundamentally the definition of sauna. And the reason I bring this up is because it seems to be such a core fundamental export of the Finnish nation that if the definitions evolve and there's nothing wrong with introducing new things to that definition, but if you are happy to proceed with something that maybe isn't Finnish in its origins, I worry, does that risk cultural appropriation of what is potentially your nation's greatest export to the world? So it's a two-part question. How do you guys define sauna, and do you think there is a place for IR as this conversation's been going? If there is that cultural appropriation?
If I start with this one, now I lost what I was going to say first, but completely. No, but I think that really what we are saying is that we want to defend our position and we want to grow in the world. And this is what we say, because we are prophets within sauna. But I think that maybe we need to stop to talking about the amount of stones and kilos of stones and the type of heaters that we are using. We need to, what we heard from previous great speakers during the day is that what's the experience of having a sauna, and then it's a secondary issue what kind of gear it's in the sauna room. So I think that is maybe why we need to educate ourselves and also how we need to address the audience and stop talking about technicalities. But maybe to be provocative to answer your question as well is that because we look very much of the personal preferences, but at the same time we don't want to cheat the market. But I say internally in our company that we have 4 types of sauna, with the risk of being thrown out now, is that we have traditional sauna, we have soft sauna, we have steam and IR sauna.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have to cut this because we are completely running out of time. Sorry, Jake. So cultural appropriation is okay if you set the price right, so no problem with that. Thank you. So thank you, our panelists here. Thank you very much. Let's give them applause. And, I see some gifts here. And I'm sorry we had to cut this because of timetable. We're running out of time.